Hello and welcome. My name is Rashim Mogha and I am your host for this Empowered Women of the World podcast. This podcast is for you. It is for me and it is for all women who want to take charge of their career and happiness. In this weekly podcast, we'll talk about technology. We'll talk about leadership and we will talk about mindfulness. We'll talk about how you can discover, visualize and actualize your success, whatever that means to you. We will also talk about our common opponent, the conscious and unconscious bias which we deal with on daily basis. And we'll share ways to navigate work politics. At the end of each podcast, I will share with you a tip or a resource that you can use to be successful. It's going to be a fun ride, so hop on and join me on this journey every week. Now, before we start today's podcast, I want to extend a very warm welcome to our audience in United Arab Emirates. Yes, with UAE joining the tribe, we now have eWOW audience in 33 countries. Yahoo! So that's a big cheer, right? That's really good news. We are expanding, our tribe is growing, and we'll soon touch 50 countries, which was our goal by the end of December 31st. So help us by sharing this podcast if you haven't done this already with your network. Now today we are going to discuss a very important aspect of our professional life, managing our managers. Yes, you heard me right. I said managing your managers. I did not say managing your team. I am talking about managing up. This topic is frequently requested by our audience. And the reality is that most of us focus on doing a great job without investing time to build a relationship with our managers. Now, building a relationship is not just being friendly with your managers. It's about building a relationship where you are helping each other be successful. You can't really be successful unless you know how to manage your leadership chain. If you know how to manage the relationship with your managers, it'll help you get visibility and resources for the projects that your team is working on. Now, remember that managing up is as important as managing your team. Many times when I talk about the importance of managing up, people have questions. They don't want to be seen as kissing up to their bosses. That's right, nobody wants to be seen like that. Managing up is not about having weekend plans that involve socializing with your manager and their family. Managing up is about working alongside your manager to combine the best of you and your manager's skill set so that both of you are successful. So here are some tips for you to help you manage up effectively. First is to help your manager succeed by aligning yourself to their goals. Now, I always try to look at the bigger picture and align myself to the goals of the business and my leaders. Remember that leaders are only as good as their teams, so be an asset and help them succeed. Their success is your success. After all, when you do a good job, it gives your manager an opportunity to showcase the good work the team has been doing, and it brings you visibility too. The second tip is to build a trust relationship, and that's key. What has worked well for me in the past is that I am always transparent with my managers. Don't blindside them, even if there is a bad news to share. Actually, I make sure that if there's a bad news, I immediately call my manager and let my manager know that things haven't gone as they are planned or there is a bad news. I do not wait for my one-on-ones. And it's because when you share the information in advance, your manager can help you navigate the situation better and prepare themselves, or they can prepare themselves to manage the situation for you. No one likes to be caught off guard. And this is specifically true at the leadership level. The leaders would like to be prepared. They like to know where the projects are going, if there are any pitfalls, and they'd like to prepare or have a backup plan in advance. And you have to help your manager put that plan in place if things are not going well. And the third piece is to work with your manager on your career path. Now, I strongly believe that your career progression is in your hands, and it's not just your manager's responsibility. So make sure that you share your career aspirations with your managers. Now, many a times we think, oh, we're doing a good job. Our manager should already know that we want to get promoted, or we want a meaty role, or we want the next meaty high visibility project. I would advise you to stop assuming that your manager already knows. Make sure that you let your manager know what your career aspirations are. Don't expect some telepathy to work over there. Take charge, set up your one-on-one agenda in advance, and work with your manager to come up with a career plan for yourself, and provide them with the information that they need to promote you or put you in the next role or further your career. And if you see that your manager is not investing time in you and is not invested in your growth, then maybe that manager is not a best leader for you. Maybe it's time to move on and start looking for teams where managers truly support other team members' growths. So I hope you find these tips helpful. Today's free resource for you is a link to the money affirmations to help you with abundance and prosperity. Yes, money affirmations to help you with abundance and prosperity for the new year that's coming up soon. The link is in the show notes below. And thank you again for joining me today. Thank you for loving, liking, supporting, and sharing the podcast. Remember, sharing is caring. I love your feedback, emails, and messages, so please keep them coming. I look forward to seeing you again in our next podcast. Till then, keep empowering the world.